Welcome to the Washington Stormwater Center Grant Writing Workshop videos. These workshops were conducted in September 2012 at 4 locations around Washington State. They were funded through a grant from the Washington Department of Ecology and filmed by Leaping Frog Films. The workshops were organized to provide a morning lecture by Eric Schulenberger, a renowned grant writing expert, with follow-up comments and advice from a representative of the Washington Department of Ecology. The afternoon session featured a speaker from a local jurisdiction who provided a permittee's perspective on grant writing. A short writing exercise to construct an abstract description of the project and an executive summary followed. The workshop you are about to view features Terry Wittmeier on the left and Dave Duncan on the right-hand side. Terry is the Water Quality Manager for the Washington State Department of Ecology, and Dave is a Municipal Stormwater Permit Manager for the Washington State Department of Ecology. This presentation was filmed in Spokane. Terry and Dave spoke to the audience on how they review grants and important grant proposal elements.
We want to know within a very small, limited space exactly what your project is, what it's going to do, and what it's going to accomplish. Scope of work, which is worth 250 points, so you can kind of get an idea through this and in the points value as to where to spend most of your time. Starts out with project administration, design, and permitting, construction management, and 4 is the construction itself. In the stormwater grants, we like to hold them down to these 4 items to make it easy for the reviewers to review. We reviewed 117 grants a year ago, and they all got funded. That's a lot of reviews for not a lot of people doing it.
Most of you should have some plans for your stormwater for the next 5, 10, or even 20 years, and you should be working on this on a long-range plan and a short-range plan. If you're waiting to try to write everything down until the grant announcement comes out, I'd suggest that you have waited too long, but go ahead and try anyway. It would be a good learning experience. Get started on your projects early. It's really important that you explain things thoroughly, but also as concisely as possible. If we get bogged down on too many details, you may get lost in the shuffle, and particularly on the other side, you've got some really steep competition.
Most of your communities are not as large as some of the communities on the west side, so be brief, but be very precise in exactly what your proposal is. That executive summary, again, is one of the first things that we look at. It's normally 50 words or less. There are no points associated with it, but it certainly lets us know within that very short box whether we're going to spend a lot of time reviewing your project or not. Some of the other proposals might be as much as 2, 3, or 4 pages, and I've done this numerous times. I have not a clue what the project is about. Make sure that the budgets add up in both places so that you don't have a budget on page 3 that says you're asking for $274,000, and on page 5 you say, well, my budget's $279,000. Again, be brief. Benjamin Franklin wrote a letter to Thomas Jefferson. He said, I'm sorry I wrote you a long letter. I didn't have time to write a short one. So the shorter you write, the more thought you put into that. Write to your audience. Again, there's going to be reviewed by people who are not necessarily technical people, so that you're going to have to write to, that high school level, if not maybe even 8th grade level, because a lot of the reviewers aren't as technical as you are.
You may be competing with a project over on the other side that have all kinds of PhDs and numerous consultants and all that stuff. For your project, you may not need all that much, but you have to demonstrate that what you have will be adequate to meet the needs of the project.
Jay, who is the capital development manager, he's going to be spending 100% of his time on this project. Jack and Julie are going to be spending 25% of their time on this project, and the city construction inspector is going to be spending 25% of their time on this project. That tells me nothing about their qualifications, their background, who they are. I don't even know who the city construction inspector is going to be. We don't need a 3-page resume for that person on every project they have ever done. We just want to know that they're competent and qualified to do the job that you have said that they're going to do in this project.
I really recommend that you put some thought process into how you explain that this is going to make water quality improvements. And in some cases, it'll be sort of generic because you won't have specific water body listings or whatever, and it's okay to say that this is just, known treatment process for cleaning up stormwater, and stormwater needs to be cleaned up. But where you can, lay out the case as to why this is going to be improving it and how it's going to fix the problem.
Let us know what's going on. Hey, be proud of your projects. Brag to us. We take those reports and we submit them to our program managers so that when they go to the legislature to say, there is a need for additional money for stormwater projects. And hey, by the way, look at these cool things that have been done. And we'd like to have more money to help do this. And they are creating a benefit for water quality. Previous performance does play a role in the reviewers after, we've had a track record with certain people.
One thing that's helpful is keep your permit manager informed ahead of time as to what's going on. It's kind of difficult if your permit manager who's reviewing the grants gets asked by the person on the other side of the state as to, well, what's this project about? And you kind of go, well, I know nothing about that. And it's kind of like, well, why not? And well, they never told me.
And if we suggest some things to you, we're pretty serious about what we'd like to have done.
Last time, Terry and I got 20 of these handed to us to review first off, and then we got another 20 handed to us. There's a lot of time put into these, so my way of going about it is I kind of go through everything first. You can usually tell what are really good and really bad, and then there's a whole bunch that are in the middle zone. After going through and getting a rough idea of the scales from, I kind of rate them, then we have to go back, and we are pretty seriously constrained to the points that are listed here. So we go down and justify everything that we have to do. And even if we may know that you've got this project is really good and score better, if you don't have it justified in your application, it's not there. One thing that you can get vetoed on real quick is if your engineering doesn't match up with what you're proposing. Even if we felt like it's a great idea, if you haven't justified to the engineering review part of it, you could be cut off right at that point.
The readiness to proceed portion comes from you having an idea that you didn't have money to do, but it's a great idea you've been kicking in the back of your head. Maybe the project is a design construct type project to where you are a small community, you're going to have to hire a consultant to design your building or whatever it is that you want to construct, and we will take that into consideration. The project comes to us for review, we can say, okay, they're pretty well ready to go. They're not going to have to spend 3 or 4 months doing the cultural review. They've been through SEPA. Here's their determination, and we'd like to have that determination included in the packet. So we know you're pretty well ready to go, even though you don't necessarily have a design for that project yet. But you know who the consultant might be. You might have sent out an early request for bids for something like that say, hey, we don't know if we're going to get funded yet, but if we do, we'd like to know, this is what we've got in mind. Give us some kind of an idea so we can put that in our proposal.